Hello, we're Group 5, and this is going to be our strategic analysis of Chipotle. So for our agenda today, we're going to go over the company overview, then we're going to hit the external analysis, the internal analysis, and then we'll be sharing our business proposal.
Hi, my name is Monique Michelle, and I'm going to give a brief company overview as Kelly introduced to us and told us the agenda. So first and foremost, Chipotle Mexican Grill is headquartered in Newport Beach, California, but it was originally founded in Denver, Colorado in 1993 by Steve Ells. This was a healthy option to the fast food industry, and it has grown so much. It now is up to 2,788 locations in the United States and employs over 60,000 people. They have very large leadership boards and shareholder boards, but I wanted to highlight it. A simple fact that Brian Niccol serves as leader for both of these, and that gives consistent oversight to Chipotle's operations and leads to their success. So they are successful also because they have a strong mission statement that says, we believe that food has the power to change the world. And their vision is that one meal might not change the world at that particular moment, but the way they do it makes all the difference, and it just might change the world. Their values further support this, and they definitely keep it real with their ingredients, their purpose, and their flavor, as well as being conscientious about their ingredients in their food. And lastly, they dive deep into what being real means. It means making the food fresh every day and having a conservative list of ingredients that's easily approachable by both employees and the guests that come and enjoy Chipotle's food. And last but not least, Chipotle is extremely committed to their corporate responsibility. Their target clientele is primarily young college students, professionals, and the age range of 18 to 28 years old. This is approximately 16% of the US population. And they're really looking for healthy options for their busy lifestyle. An interesting thing that we found in our research is the target gender is actually turns out to be 54% female. And we thought that was very interesting and really harkened to that strong clientele. As mentioned, Chipotle was founded by Steve Ells in 1993, but other key dates that I wanted to highlight is throughout most of their success, they have expanded continually and even went public in 2006, enjoyed more growth until their first troubles in 2015, where there was a series of E. coli outbreaks. Eventually, as the years went on, Steve Ells stepped down to make way for Brian Niccol to become CEO in 2018. Some of the major goals that were recently put forth in the SEC 10K from this past year harken to being a brand that's demonstrating purpose and cultivating a better world. So those goals include food with integrity and continuing that, such as their responsibly raised meats. Additionally, looking at their purchasing and maintaining the ability to acquire high quality and fresh ingredients. And they further supported that with implementing a food safety advisory council. Thirdly, they really want to continue leveraging and expanding their digital platform to really connect with their guests and make it easier. And this has been a critical business stance for many companies, but especially for Chipotle in reaching out and providing things like online ordering. And to hearken to that, they want to add additional what they call Chipotle lanes, where the guests can order online either through the web or the app, and then come and pick up their food through their designated lanes. Next, I'm going to hand it over to Kelly for the external analysis.
So next slide, please. These are the 4 main entrees that Chipotle offers along with their sides. It's also important to mention that they offer 6 different types of meats. They offer a plant-based protein and a veggie option for people who don't eat meat. Next slide, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Perik Derry and I'll be going over Chipotle's key competitors. Chipotle has a lot of key competitors in the fast food industry. Their competitors are Taco Bell, Rubio's, Baja Fresh, Del Taco, and Qdoba Mexican Eats. Some competitors offer the same experience as Chipotle as they make the food in front of the customers. Chipotle's competitors in other categories of food are Subway and Togo's, which offer sandwiches. Subway and Togo's are similar to Chipotle because these restaurants also make the food in front of the customers. Next slide, please. So for social factors,
Economic factors are impacted by inflation, employment rates, and customer spending. Chipotle recently increased their prices by about 4%. The CFO mentioned that there is little pullback from their customers. The customers continue to buy their products at a similar rate. They also increased their wages for employees to combat the labor shortage they're currently facing. And they have a high desire from their current customers to continue to buy their products. As for social impacts,
so for the social factors, Chipotle's workers are being overwhelmed because there has been a significant increase in online orders during the pandemic. Another issue that causes problems for Chipotle employees is that customers get angry due to shortages. Chipotle has been having issues with employees coming to work and calling in sick because many employees contracted the coronavirus and had to quarantine themselves. Another reason is that some Chipotle employees are afraid of contracting the virus, so they either don't come into work or they just quit their job because of fear. Next slide, please.
the entry costs are relatively low compared to other sectors, which reduces the risk for new entrants. There's an increased popularity in fast health conscious food, which is contributing to the growth in the industry. Chipotle reduces the ability for new entrants to make an extraordinary profit by having more locations, great brand recognition, higher profit margins, and most importantly, loyal customers. Their increased spending on research and development contributes to their success while discouraging new entrants. Panera Bread and Taco Bell are definitely two of the most established firms competing with Chipotle. Panera Bread is closely tied to Chipotle's financial statements, with Chipotle still doing better. They offer healthy, fast alternatives similar to Chipotle. They have slightly more stores than Chipotle, but they're still underperforming. Taco Bell has recently rebranded themselves as being a healthy alternative. They're now offering meatless products. Next slide, please. Recently, Chipotle has launched a virtual farmers market during COVID in order to help their suppliers with the agricultural sector suffering. They're offering their suppliers the resources to produce quality products that are tied with their current standards. They're remaining committed to being free of GMOs and antibiotics. This is kind of similar to what Walmart has done on their platform. Walmart suppliers need to sell on their site in order to survive as a supplier. Basically, what they're doing is they're making their suppliers need them just as much as they need them, as much as they need their suppliers.
So for the bargaining power of buyers, Chipotle customers have high bargaining power because they can choose to eat from their various competitors like Qdoba Mexican Eats, which has a more extensive selection of meats, salsas, and other types of food. Also, if a customer is in a rush and does not want to go inside the restaurant, they can choose to go to a restaurant that offers drive-through services like going to Taco Bell. Chipotle's customers have a high bargaining power because they can force them to handle their food in a more safer way so that their food is safe from health-related concerns. After Chipotle's recent food safety problems, their customers can choose to go with their competitors because they might feel safer eating from them instead of Chipotle. Next slide, please. So for the threat of substitutes, Chipotle has plenty of substitutes that customers can choose from in the fast food industry. Qdoba Mexican Eats is a high competitor for Chipotle as they offer a similar food offering. Chipotle's customers can choose to make their own food at home also if they do not feel like eating from the restaurant. Customers can also go to Safeway and buy ready-made meals to store in the fridge or freezer, which they just simply have to warm and eat. Another substitute is Costco. They have a wide variety of ready-made food which customers can store in their fridge, and also they have a food cart as well. There are also many websites that offer ready-made meals for customers to purchase, like Freshly and HelloFresh.com. Next slide, please. So for Andrew Grove's Sixth Force, a compliment that adds value for Chipotle is their disposable containers because it provides their customers with ease to eat their food without getting their dishes dirty at home. Their chips, guacamole, and drinks also add value because it complements their. Ordering online from Chipotle's website or app is also a compliment because it provides their customers with ease while purchasing from them. Lastly, the last compliment is DoorDash delivery services. because it adds great value for their busy customers as they get their food delivered to their location.
So I'm going to cover the internal analysis, and starting with that, the Chipotle's financials. It's going to be very brief because of the time constraint. So please make sure you read the paper in depth to understand the complications going around with their accounting. So first, I want to start off by saying that they had their revenue increase from 2019 to 2020 by about 15%. And this was due to the amount of people had influx going into fast food and fast casual food options rather than restaurants because they were all being restricted at the time. So that's where that massive boom of 15% comes from. And also what supplemented that was the opportunity that they saw within delivery, and they increased the amount of revenue from that from 4 million in 2019 all the way up to 64 million in 2021, increasing it by 15 times. And in 2020 to 2021, we saw an increase of 6% in revenue, which is more on line of the consistency with Chipotle. Next slide, please. Now, one of the biggest concerns that we saw with Chipotle with the last handful of years was every year they had a tax break because they actually weren't making a lot of profit at the end of the periods. However, they are starting to incur profits, and with the changes in taxes, it's come together that Chipotle is paying a lot more, which is cutting out of their revenue into some sort of a loss for Chipotle, depending on how you account it. Now, what they had before was on average about 108 million in tax breaks, and now they're paying 100 million every year, which is more in line to a logical sense since the company is producing almost 6 billion in revenue now. Now, one of the things that they try to have a tax break on was devaluing the businesses that they had and being able to find a loophole where, since the businesses were worth less and the contracts from the leases that they had, they could pay less money in taxes and try to get some more benefits. And another of their biggest things was avoiding paying taxes for their employees by marking the amount of promotional signings and increases in wages to keep their employees, like we mentioned earlier, with the COVID relief fund producing more money than actually working at Chipotle. And they filed all these things under the other operating costs. For next slide. And this kind of had a red flag because the amount of wages that they had for employees was going down in percentage to the revenue being generated. But if you were to total it properly with the other operating expenses for how much they were actually paying employees, it would show a legitimate parallel increase in that. So even though they had a 20% increase in revenue in the last year, they're actually not making as much money as they were in prior years because of the different ways that they're trying to account for things. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Win, and I will talk about the competitor of Chipotle on the Blue Ocean strategy. Although there are many competitors in fast food industry for Mexican cuisine, Taco Bell is considered Chipotle's main competitor. There's two restaurants, both have a lot in common and compete in many factors, but I want to highlight three important things: is price, customer service, and the drive-thru. For the price in general, the average price of product on Chipotle and Taco Bell has different. Chipotle costs most for most of its product. By 2021, Chipotle increased the price about 4% because of the increase in supply price and want to raise more wage for their employee during the COVID pandemic. Meanwhile, Taco Bell has a lower price on the same product. Chipotle pricing model is similar to Subway, and Taco Bell similar to other fast food places like McDonald's or Denny. Customer service, Chipotle always want to bring the excellent experience to each customer when coming to the restaurant. To give customer a new and better experience, Chipotle decide to open a workstation where every customer can see their staff making their food. And for the Taco Bell, it's like all the fast food restaurant, they make food inside and bring the food to the customer. And for the drive-thru, Taco Bell offer a drive-thru in the mall store for the convenience. For customer, Taco Bell always serve late customer through the drive-thru. This way, both customer and employees feel safe, and service is quick. Chipotle doesn't have the style of try to serve it, but they have the service of ordering online and then going to the pickup shop, drive-up service called Chipotle. Next, please. And this is a chart we make for comparing between Chipotle and Taco Bell. For general, the Chipotle have the lower cost than Taco Bell. Next, please. I will pass the next slide to Paris about the business proposal.
Right, so for the external and internal environment, Chipotle has been facing a lot of issues with their external environment. In 2021, Chipotle faced many issues with the supply chain and shortages as well. The shipping costs and price of certain ingredients like beef were really high. They also have been having shortages in beef, tortillas, rice, and many other ingredients. Most of these issues are related to the COVID-19 pandemic and can continue to cause them issues in the future as well. For the internal environment, customers have been getting sick from eating at Chipotle. From 2015 to 2018, more than 1,100 customers got sick from consuming their food. Because of this, Chipotle had agreed to pay $25 million to the government because of the safety regulations they violated. It was found out that the employees were the problem because they were not handling the food properly, and sick employees were also coming into work when they should not have. Next slide, please.
To have Chipotle escape the red ocean, the company had to solve both the internal and external problem it faced. Besides, the company also has to create new strategy and feature to attract more customers. Based on the 4-action framework of Blue Ocean strategy, including remove, reduce, raise, and create, it can help Chipotle achieve the ideal value curve. For eliminate staff allow sick employees to go to work. As mentioned above, between 2015 and 2018, more than 1,100 Chipotle customers became sick due to Chipotle violent company policy, and employees were still going to work when sick, which caused massive damage to the company. And to attract more customers to it, Chipotle should reduce the food price. You need to find a place that offers slightly cheaper the supply, and fast foods will appeal to people with a healthy lifestyle. That price is only suitable for those dining alone or a small group. For the race to make Chipotle bigger, the company needs to build a strong team. They need to create a safe and the best possible environment for their employees. And Chipotle can offer employees the double pay when working on the holidays. And for the create, Chipotle could use the robot to make a burrito to avoid relying too much on the employees. And although using the robot instead, there are still staff in the shop to monitor and observe to detect and promptly solve the problem. If Chipotle can do this, it will be a turning point in the fast food industry, a new step leading the trend and attracting many customers and investors. Next, please.
Okay, so we've got 3 different strategic recommendations. I'll share the first one, which is family meals. This is where a person could buy any of the menu items in a quantity of 3 and then add additional items at a reduced cost. This is a great option for their target clientele as they grow their families. And especially right now, the second fold to that is the households these days have multiple families and or multiple roommates. So this is essentially a mid-range offering that spans the gap between a la carte and catering, and really gives that healthy option while connecting with the family and being able to do that in a cost-effective manner. Next, I'm going to hand it over to Brandon for the next recommendation.
So for the next recommendation, I'm thinking to go in conjunction with the Behind the Foil initiative and Responsibly Raised initiative. We have a responsibly grown one, where this is where, just like the responsibly raised one, they're growing their own produce and they're getting rid of, suppliers in the middle, having to have less shortage all the time, and they can have a better feel for the standard of their produce coming into their restaurants, exactly how they do with their meat. And if they actually incorporate this into the business, you can see that within the next 5 years, they could save 300 million a year on handling their own produce.
So to go over the third strategic recommendation, to help Chipotle expand, they should implement a drive-through into their offering as it would help bring in more customers. As of right now, Chipotle offers Chipotle lanes where customers can order online through their online website or app and come park in a lane to get the food delivered to their cars. If Chipotle opens up a drive-through, customers can drive up to the drive-through window and place their orders without using their website or app. Some customers prefer to order from a drive-through window instead of going into the restaurant. Especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, some people avoid going into restaurants because they do not feel safe doing so. A drive-through window would also minimize the chances of the restaurant getting crowded inside, which would be beneficial for Chipotle as it would take the stress off of their workers. Next slide, please. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you guys for listening.